Welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. This is a show where we aim to educate, inspire and entertain through real life stories and interviews from people in the Scottish property community.
As always, thanks for listening and give us a follow on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to join us at our monthly networking events on the first Wednesday of every month. Tickets are available on our website. So without further ado, we'll just cut straight into this week's podcast.
Welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. Scott Dunsmore from Taymore Properties.
Thanks very much for having me.
Thanks for joining us, mate. Really appreciate it.
Welcome.
Yeah, I've got Nick as well. I was waiting on you coming back anyway.
You lead the way, Stephen. You guys know each other a bit better, so.
Well, I don't know Scott that well. I just turned up to our karting event, absolutely fucking annihilated all the go-karting, and disappeared. I was like, fuck is that? So then reached out and then found out more about Scott. So you've been flying recently, what, £2.5 million of property in the last couple of years, like you're scaling up really quickly. So before we get into that story, can you tell us a wee bit about your background and I suppose where you grew up, what your career path was before building up this fucking phenomenally quick portfolio?
So I grew up in Ashgill, and then just before school I moved to Stonehouse, and that was pretty good. Went through school, wasn't really interested, but I wasn't the devil, I wasn't the angel, I was kind of in between. And I just got really, I met two people and they were really into football, so that kind of started me getting into football. So rain, sleet or snow, I was playing football and that was all I was interested in. Going through school, couldn't wait to get to primary 6 so I could play in the school team. Played in the school team. Played with the school team, played with a couple of teams as well. And then high school, that wasn't too bad until I went to third and fourth year, because they go from clever to thick. I was with all the thick people. The majority of the class weren't interested and they just wanted to carry on and a laugh. So probably tail end of third year, I actually get let out to go and work for 2 days a week, and that carried on into fourth year. 3 days I was at school. Near the end of the fourth year, they're like, just go and work 5 days and out for your exams.
They just wanted rid of you basically, causing too many problems.
So again, I was just interested in playing football, getting a carry on and a laugh. And when I went to work, I went to do the go-kart engines.
Aye.
So
here's where the story comes in. Here's.
Yeah, I was doing the go-karts for a couple of years, and the guy that I was working with moved to Larkcall in the unit, and obviously the school had been thinking, I need to get rid of him, he's just causing too much trouble, just put him up there to work. So it was brilliant for me. And then what happened then?
What age was that then?
That would be 15, 16.
Aye.
So I was out to work.
But hence the reason why you kicked your ass at the go-kart.
Absolutely annihilated all at go-karting. Did you end up getting any qualifications or staying on school, or just that was you left?
I went for 4 exams. I couldn't tell you what exams I'd done. I know maths and English was one of them. Again, just wasn't interested in, put the name in the paper, walk out. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew I didn't want to be at school.
How did the football pan out then?
Football was good. Played with a few teams, won a few trophies.
What level?
I signed S for McCowden Beef.
Aye.
So that was probably the highest. Played with Scotland amateurs twice as well.
Aye.
And then when I was 18, I got a football scholarship and I went out to America for 6 months. It was meant to be 5 years. Again, thick, couldn't do the university, so I get let go for that. And then I went to work with my dad's company when I came back, and I worked with him till I was, 30.
What's your dad's company?
Roller Shutter Doors.
All right.
So I think when I was 24, I actually got into the office and I was shadowing my dad for 2 days, and then it became 5 days, and then just at the end when my dad was retiring, he would shadow me. So I think by the age of 29, I was running the company. Mm-hmm. Was it 29? It must have been about 29. And then I started another door company doing the domestic side. So that was me until I was 34.
Nice.
And then the company's...
What age are you now?
37.
Right, okay.
So what is this the point where it was starting to pique the interest in property and doing something else? Or?
10 years ago, I bought my first buy-to-let.
Right.
And then I bought another 2 quickly after. But I bought the wrong stock.
Right.
I was getting the junkies, the hoorhoosies. I was like, I need to get away with this.
What sort of areas? Like, what sort of properties?
The first one was a 2-bedroom flat in Coatbridge, and then the second one was a 2-bedroom flat in Coatbridge, and then a 2-bedroom house in Ashgill.
Right.
I've still got one of them in Coatbridge and the one in Ashgill.
Pretty low value stock.
Yeah.
So
deal entry price like 40-50 grand in flats. Like,
I was who I was speaking to, like, oh, it's all about yield, it's all about this. They weren't telling me about void repairs, the headaches. So that was kind of my journey into property, and then I was like, nah, this isn't for me. So I just stopped. I sold the first one that I bought, and then a couple of years later after that, I bought my dad's commercial property. The company was running in that, so that was another rent. And then next door neighbour, the next unit, they approached and said, look, we're looking to sell, would you be interested? And I bought that as well.
Nice.
So that was into commercial property.
And where's the money come from to buy these properties? Are you doing well at the business?
The business was doing really well.
Right, good.
So I had day two, and I was like, right, commercial properties might be the way to go. There's no headaches.
No junkies, no houses.
Exactly. So I was looking at shops, and then I was looking at other units, and just nothing was really coming. And then a couple of years later, I bought a plot, and I done a new build. So that was in 2019, sold it in 2020 through COVID, which was an absolute nightmare.
So like,
lost all the paperwork, they couldn't go into the office to get it, so the buyer was waiting about 4 or 5 months. I'm like, I'm never going to fucking sell this house.
Jesus.
How long was that a process? I mean, was that something you do again, or the new builds?
No, I would definitely no with the increase in labour and material.
Was it successful? Like high level? Did you make a decent profit out of it?
6 figures.
Yeah. So was that a single unit plot?
Yeah.
Single unit plot. What was the house, like a 4-bed detached house or something?
4-bed, yep. Detached and 4-bed, 3 bathroom, was it?
Nice. What area was that in?
That was in Crisford, so South Lanarkshire.
All right. Decent area, decent.
Really nice. It was quiet. Did
you get the plot on the market?
No, it was through my friend who's an architect who used to build houses, put me in touch with the ground owner. Yeah. So he ended up building another 6, and I bought the plot and built one. But I made the mistake. I just got back with Stacey, my girlfriend, and we'd been looking to get a bigger house. And I was like, right, well, if I maybe do it up a wee bit better and put different stuff in it, we maybe move into it. But it was just too far away for Stacey's work, and there's nothing wrong about it either, like pubs, shops. But the property did come out really nice. So and I still made the profit. I could have made more, but
by not spending the high end. Can you give us a wee high level overview on the numbers roughly, on like how much was the plot worth and what was the
156, 200, 452 I sold it for.
Right,
so
quite an expensive plot then at 156 grand.
It was 888 square metres.
Right,
and the house I think was 249.
That's a decent sized house, yeah.
Yep.
But it's interesting, you came out the back of that making a 6-figure profit, but then you're saying you wouldn't do it again. So obviously, I'm thinking to myself, geez, that's all right. You're obviously made a success at that, but you're saying now, looking at it, moving forward, there's a bit too much risk there, or you're cash tied up for too long? Or?
Cash up, I think, in calculation, I think it was like £800 a square metre my build cost.
Right. Which is really low right now, isn't it?
You couldn't do it for now. I'm speaking to my mate, and he's like, it's more like 1,500, 1,600. So you add that up, the amount of the time that you put that money into the plot, into the build, you're maybe walking away with 6 figures.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So if you do a couple of flips, although you're tying your money up for 6 months, you can still make that, in my opinion.
Less hassle, you've not got all that.
Are the way forward.
You've not got all that planning.
Sorry, mate.
Sorry. I'm just, from speaking to other guys in our network that come to our networking events and stuff like that. There's one guy in particular, Ian.
I was at that.
Yep. So he's kind of does that new build plots and stuff like that. But obviously he's a builder, right? So he's doing it kind of, cost price and all the rest of it. So he can save on the labour and stuff like that. But it's not as straightforward as what it looks, I think. And you're just describing there the numbers that are involved in the cost of materials now and labour.
Since COVID, it just went up. Do you know what I mean?
And it's not like the house prices have went up to match it. So unless someone's taken a right scalp on the land price, you're not making the numbers stack up the same, are you?
In my opinion, no.
I mean, even if you look at like the big house builders like the Miller and Wimpy and all that, their margins are pretty, because they have
small. They've got scale and economy, haven't they?
They've got scale.
Well, where I stay in East Kilbride now, there's a Bellway site, and there's maybe about 8 plots still no sold. So if you take the risk on one and you can't sell it, they can stomach no selling, and then they're giving incentives and stuff like that. I can't give incentives. Do you know what I mean?
Aye. It's interesting that you dipped your feet in it, like towards into different strategies. Like you went for your buy to let to start with, your commercial, go for the new build, and then what was the thought process after COVID? Then it was
well, I lost a contract with Timor Limited. That was my dad's company,
right?
And I lost 80% of my workforce. So basically, all the workers went to the company that won the contract.
Right.
So it was a fucking massive kick in the balls. And it was a struggle.
Was that like a commercial contract for?
Yeah.
Right.
Why was that you lost it? Like, what happened?
Well, I got outbid, but in my opinion, they bought the contract.
Right.
Just looking at the numbers, because they send it on and they say, they want it 30% less than what you are.
Right.
So I'm going back my numbers. I'm like, how the fuck did they do that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then they won the other contract that I had, and there were 4 people tendered for that, and they were like 80 grand less than what I was, and I was second, but there were another 2 companies within 20 grand of me. So I'm sitting thinking to myself, well, I'm no pricing this wrong. I said, they're just buying the work, which they couldn't do. They had a £15 million turnover.
And was that for the sliding doors, garage doors?
Garage doors, automatic doors.
Because when you say contract for like commercial
it was council contracts.
Council contracts.
Is that why they've got to be upfront with the who else was tendering for it and what the?
Well, you don't know who's tendering, but once the tender once it's agreed, they send you the paperwork and why you didn't win. So is that
because you have to be kind of transparent because it's government money?
So you're there's 2 bits of the contract. It's all your health and safety and paperwork and your price. So I mean, this company was like 99 out of 100 and we were 70 out of 100, and then the price, obviously that first one, they were miles cheaper than us.
So that's a big blow then. Are you, at this point, are you thinking we're going to struggle here? Or
after the first one, I knew that they were winning the second one, just to the price difference, and it was more or less the same contract, just a different council. So I'm thinking, I was like,
goes a lot of revenue.
I'm going to struggle here. So it was already in my mind. I was like, how else can I get rid of this? I still had the other garage door company.
You'd set up yourself.
I'd set up myself, and that was doing okay.
For residential? This is
residential.
For like, if you're a homeowner, you want a new?
Yep.
Right, okay.
And I'd spoke to a few people that had sold their company, and they'll put an non-compete on you, and you'll need to work with them for 3 years. And I'm like, I don't want to do it for myself because of the stress and the health that I was struggling.
Just with the amount of the workload and
aye. So if I don't want to do that for myself, and somebody comes in and says, right, you're going to be based on performance, it's going to be more stress, and I don't want to do it for them either.
Yeah, for 3 years as well.
Aye. And then if I get a non-compete, I can't go out and do what I want to do with my other garage door company.
Yeah.
So I just decided to wind it down.
Right.
I had a cash pot in there, so I put that into my property business.
That must have been quite a difficult time, because obviously that's come, your dad that started up originally? Aye, so obviously you've got that.
It was 30 years, do you know what I mean?
So it's a difficult decision to make.
Did your dad help you with the decision? Was he a partner, or is he retired? Or?
No, he was retired. He didn't want me to give it up, and I don't know if it was because he'd started it and didn't want to see it, and I says, look, it's not healthy.
Nah.
I says, I can't do this. And it's turned out now it's been the right decision.
How hard reflecting on that though, like obviously as a man, like especially seeing your dad build a legacy, you working from him almost straight from school, to have that conversation, and obviously he's not going to want you to do it. How hard is it to, I suppose, look in the mirror and go, this isn't fucking healthy for me, it's affecting my health, it's affecting my wellness, it's not right.
Aye. So I think I was doing a job, I think it was fucking away by Dumbarton, and I was heading up the road. It was maybe about 6:30, 7 at night. This is when the guys had left, and I was on call 24/7, 365, and I got a phone call. It was another emergency. I'm like, for fuck's sake. So I went out to the emergency. I couldn't do it myself. The other guy wasn't on call, so I had to phone my dad. So my dad came out and gave me a hand, and I was like, right, I'm done with this. He says, I'm not doing it. And then me and him are arguing. And then I was like, this is wrong. I says, I need to phone him. So I phoned him and I explained what I was feeling, and I was coming out in rashes and stuff as well. So I think after that conversation he did understand more. And then I says, I could still run the other company, and if you want to help me, we'll do that. But I'm going into property. Right. So that was a decision.
I take it that the dabbling in property you've done over the years would give you that, I know enough now, I've got a bit of experience, I can utilise this money and scale it quicker?
No, that wasn't my initial thinking. My initial thinking was, my dad was 72 at the time. I was like, if I could add a couple of properties and me and my dad do all the refurbs, I would be happy doing that until he can't. And then I got this cash pot for both companies into my property business. I was like, I could really fucking blow this if I'm no
careful
doing the right thing. So I got educated, and then it just blew my mind. I was like, this is how I'm going to go forward. So the first 10 months, me and my dad done 5 refurbs, and that was 6-7 days a week. And me and Stacey also moved house as well. So thankfully my mum and Stacey done the flitting because I had no time. And the couple that we bought the property off of, they were immigrating to Australia. So I went in and I'm like, oh, nice furniture, and they're like, we're immigrating. I was like, I could buy your furniture. So it was win-win. So that was a big help. And then
and see the plan coming out the course then, so you went and you presumably you paid quite a bit of money, and these courses are no cheap. You went all and did that. You came out obviously eyes wide open, opportunities there. What was the plan? Did you have a clear plan? Is it back into residential for you, or is it commercial? What are you doing at this point?
Both.
Aye.
So I know it was all residential with the think if I could get a couple of commercial units I would take them on.
And what strategy with the residential?
A BRR. So I was doing that, if you like.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't, because I bought everything all cash and I've still to refinance some of them. But that was always the plan. But I just wanted to be sure that I was doing it right. So I'm one of the guys that you can tell me you're blue in the face, but until I do it and see it happening, that's when it starts going in.
So see the BRR, right? RRR, whatever it is. A lot of listeners still listen to podcasts who are starting out like, what's this they're talking about, right? So you're buying the property, hopefully a bit below the market at a discount. You're adding the value by doing the refurbishment, and then you're refinancing it and renting it at higher value, hoping that you'll get that initial cash investment back out to then go again, right? Is that
I've done BRR, buy, refurbish, rent.
Right.
Missed it the extra R.
I missed it the extra R.
Right, okay.
So it was just, I had that money there. I'm like, I'll just use that and then I'll learn more about it. And then once I see it happening, so it's all clicking now.
You were fortunate. You had that.
Definitely.
You had the funds built up from the business, and you were in quite a good position there. Let's take a quick break, guys, from today's show to talk about selling your property with Prime Property Auctions. Now, myself and Stephen have both used John and Lewis from Prime in the past, and we can personally vouch for their service. They sell vacant and tenanted property, and you get to control the minimum reserve price so that you're not selling your property for peanuts. They pay for all the stuff like photos, videos, and all the marketing stuff up front, so you're not paying anything from the start, and it's a no sale, no fee. So if you want to check out Prime Property Auctions, then get across to the link on the show notes and speak to the guys. But that whole BRR stuff, was that stuff that you knew that you didn't realise that was a thing before? Like, did you know?
The first 3 that I bought, I didn't know, but I was buying everything below market value. So the first one I bought an investor, saying below market value, the guy screwed me. But the other 2 I was buying it, I bought at auction.
Right.
So I seen that he had bought at auction. I was like, how did I just not cut him out and I'll buy at auction? So that was how I did the other 2.
So the first one you actually bought from the guy that had bought at auction, did he just flip it on you?
So what had happened was, got in contact with this investor. He's like, I'll do you a good deal. I'm like, right, brilliant. So this is the price. It's got a home report of 75. I says, I'm not paying that for it. I'll give you 38. And he's like, no. So we ended up agreeing on 45,500. Right. And then when I went to sell it, it got a home report of 42 and I sold it for 39. So he's obviously paid off the surveyor when you could do that back in the day.
Are you sure it wasn't Stephen you bought it off?
No.
That's one of his strategies.
And then obviously the 6 month rule, Rightmove had been updated. I seen he bought it for 24,500.
Aye.
I'm like, how the fuck did he do that? And then I was just looking into it, I was like, he's obviously been buying at auction, so that's why I went down the auction route.
Straight to buying at auction. How have you found that process then of the auction? Has it been one of these, is it these kind of online auctions? Have you been buying them before they've actually gone to the bidding?
No, I didn't know about that until I'd done the education.
Aye.
So, the first two, that was Wilson's auctions.
Right.
I'd like to name them.
Aye, that's fine. I mean, we won't go into too much detail on the other ones, but I think Wilson's I've always found quite straight.
Aye, yep. And then the next 5, when I got back into it, they were also bought at auction.
Right.
Two or three was Wilson, and then the other 2 were for other people.
Nice.
Cool.
And you found the process okay, like decent enough deals?
There's always a reason.
There were decent enough deals because me and my dad done the labour.
Right.
There's always a reason why they're at auctions though. So what was the kind of, was there any kind of like, oh shit, we didn't realise that about the property, or there's something wrong with the title, or was it just a straightforward, the sellers just wanting a quick sale?
To be honest, I don't know. I just seen it online and says I'll go and view them.
I mean, they ended up all right. Is what I'm saying. They didn't end up like there wasn't any kind of things that were kind of buried under the legals or anything like that.
So
which
I
came
send
up.
everyone on to the solicitor and they check it out before I even bid.
Good.
And as
Check
I say,
legal
I go and
fact.
view them as well. But I mean, they first 5, well 4, sorry, because the other one is a good deal. Even though if I did pay somebody to do the labour, they weren't deals. But because me and my dad done the labour,
pulled the cost into making them.
So that was the foundation for me to wind down the other door company.
Right.
And I could walk away from the door company and then go full time into property. So
And is that where you're at the moment then?
yeah, aye.
So you've not even sold the other company, you just wound it down?
I wound that one down as well, aye.
So you're not doing any of that business at all anymore?
No.
100% time focused on property, that's
so
brilliant.
that was October 23 probably.
Nice.
Was the time I took on the
And where's the cash flow coming from to live a lifestyle basically? Is that coming from the buy-to-lets, the portfolio?
Yeah.
So since you wound in the other garage door company, have you just went full on property? How, and what's been the scale then in the last almost a year?
What's the portfolio look like now? If you can just summarise the kind of units, like how many residential, you got a couple of commercial?
I'll just agreed on 4 commercial shops.
Nice.
So they'll be going into legals this week, and the rest are residential, apart from the 2 that I had before.
How many residential?
What's that, 18?
Brilliant.
18, 19.
Right. Cash flowing around, like what would you say your average cash flow is after all kind of costs, like finance costs and that? Or
I've not actually looked at that actually, the average cash flow.
Aye.
No.
Have you got a target as a goal for the business, or you just keep churning, keep going
Probably
for
an
it?
8-figure portfolio.
Yeah.
Maybe do a couple.
What does that kind of like, when people say they've got like a 7 or 8 figure portfolio though, for me that doesn't really, I can't really relate to that. I can't really, because that's value.
Next number up for 7's 10 million, isn't it?
Aye, no, but what I'm saying is like that's value of the property. Like if you're buying the lending and mortgages and all the rest of it, what I'm looking at is how much you make in a month. Do you know what I mean? So what for you?
I think people do different. I suppose it depends on your goals, isn't it? Like, and what you're looking for, the valuation. Like I know you always ask the question of how many properties, but that's really irrelevant to me.
Aye,
You
no,
always ask
I
the
get
number of
it.
units, and then some people will say, I want the valuation because maybe they're focused on their net worth growing over time and paying down the debt, or maybe
The question about how many properties is just to get an idea of like how much you've done basically. Like, you know, I've got 12 buy-to-lets, but that's taken me about 15 years to get 12 buy-to-lets, whereas you've got 18 and you've done it in that short space of time, you know. So you're
clearly it's the education that you're lacking, eh?
did you go to his course?
I've not been in your course. No, I joined.
So you fucked up. You could have had £5 million in 2 years if you did it in 9.
You know that there's going to be a credit card machine coming out at the end of this podcast. By the way,
How'd you get
try and get you signed up. I don't think you need it, mate. It sounds like you're flying. So
No, I would pay for education again, because that investment has got to me where I'm already now. You know what I mean? That's me unpaid off now.
It's interesting because you seem very much like my upbringing as well. Like a lot of the lack of education from school, and the kind of dismiss a degree, dismiss that formal education. But I'd be exactly the same as you. If someone could show me how to do scale up Facebook ads right now, I'd pay money for it. I'd pay something to help my business grow, pay something to help my personal growth.
You're investing in yourself.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and you do. We speak about that quite a bit. Like you do. I credit that quite a lot to your success.
The education?
Yeah.
Oh, hands down. Aye, definitely.
It's interesting because it's not like you didn't have any experience, like going from the start of the story, talking about your few buy-to-lets, a new build development, commercial property. It's not like you can. I find that when I speak to people as well, as soon as they've had a good bit of experience, they're like, the fuck am I want to pay money for? I know what I'm doing. I've got 12 buy-to-lets, or I've got 5 properties, I've got 2, I know what I'm doing. And it's like, I think it's that switch off mindset to, if you think you know something, you're not going to fucking open your mind up to learning something that you're missing.
I mean, I'm no good with Excel spreadsheets and that. Even like the analysers and the systems and the CRMs they tell you to put in place and show you how to do it, it's a massive help. Do you know what I mean? If you're looking to scale, you need all of that in your business.
Yeah,
although you need to pay all the subscriptions and stuff like that, which a bit of bollock, but
and the commercial stuff helps. Sorry, getting off the education, you know. The commercial stuff, right? What's the plan with that? Are these just like easy lettable shop units?
They're already let.
Are they?
Yep.
Did you get them on the market with a commercial agent, or did you get them off the market?
Private message to somebody.
Nice. Is that something you just knew through your network that you can reach out to? Or?
Aye.
It's interesting, eh?
Aye.
Specific areas or?
Well, they're not in legals yet, so...
Okay, no, that's fine, sorry. Well, no pressure on that. That's in the process, in the pipeline, that's fine. So for you, like property, what ultimately is it going to give you in terms of like, what is your life going to look like once you've kind of hit that goal, or not hit the goal, but what are you working towards? Some people, it's like they're wanting time back, you know, they don't want to be in that 9 to 5, so they want to have flexibility. Some people it's the income. What's the?
I don't really think it like that. I just want to work and build something. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, my dad had built that company, and I took it in. Obviously, I didn't. It did work because I made a lot of money the time that I was running it. But a lot of people be like, "Oh, I failed," but I don't see it as that because I did make money. It's just circumstances changed that I couldn't really help.
How's it transformed to your life? Sorry, mate. One more question from me. I'll let you speak in a second.
Good question here. You better fucking forget this now.
Hold that thought. So, like, it sounded like you're under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress when you had that conversation with your dad and all that. So, presumably, you don't want to go back to that. You know, is it about kind of taking control for yourself now, rather than having all those other guys?
So you're sitting there and you've got staff. I think at the most count I had 15 staff. Everyone was relying on 2 contracts. Although I should have, I did actually bring in more work, but it wasn't enough to keep people going. So if I'd ride the storm, I could tender for them in 3 or 5 years' time. So if I won them again, but then in another 5 year, if I don't win the contract, I'm back to square one again. So doing the property stuff my own is security.
Yeah. Do you think you've created that legacy, that longer lasting legacy, like the fact that it's in bricks and mortar and not, obviously you can control trying to tender to get a contract, but you can't control if you get it, and you can't control external forces, whereas the fact that you've reinvested that company's money into assets that seems to be working well, do you think you've created that longer lasting legacy?
It's security. I don't need to worry about if I don't get this contract, then I need to let folk go and I'm going to struggle to get a job and stuff like that. So
I suppose the pain point for you was the stress and the impact it was having on yourself. Is that gone now? Now that there's a focus in the property business?
Oh, it's definitely gone. It's made me a stronger person. Do you know what I mean? It's gave me thicker skin, which you do need in property because there's shit happens all the time. You seem like a grafter though. Like I don't know what I don't know whether I say it. I fucking will say it because it's who I am. But I had someone do a one-to-one workshop with me recently, and the reason I'm thinking of it is there's a guy speaking up at the Dundee event last night, and he says that he was stressed out in his business, and he's wanting to go and look at other revenue streams and property's route. And I just says, look, fucking forget it. Like property's a stressful business. There's a lot of hard work involved in it.
you seem like a grafter anyway, but the fact that this other business was stressing you, I think, I suppose the question I'm asking is, did you go into it thinking it was all rosy and sunshine? You're here to graft, you're here to build something else, but there's a different pressures associated with it.
No, because obviously the first 2 properties, the junkies, the hoorhouses, the void, the repairs, I knew it wasn't easy.
Aye.
But I'd come through what was probably the hardest 2 years of my life.
Yeah.
A better person, and I says, it just bounces off me now.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? I don't.
How are you managing the properties? Have you got a letting agent?
I've got a letting agent, yeah.
So they deal with that side of things,
yep.
the tenant side of things, but obviously you're quite hands-on in terms of refurbs and that, getting in there.
Well, I've walked away for the refurbs now.
Good.
So I still do a bit. Obviously, the 2 flips that I've got going, I got a bit more involved than I should have. But I kept the cost down. So
is it nice? Because I mean, like my dad's retired out to Brazil, and I always think the last 4 or 5 years that I've scaled up a lot of the business, I wish I had my dad here in the country doing it, because I think that the stuff that he taught me when I was 19, 20, buying my first flat, the strip out and the tiling and then doing a rewire and fitting a boiler, I'm like, these are the kind of things I'd actually enjoy doing more of my dad.
I know where I would rather be if I was your dad. So I'd be in Brazil, mate.
Fixing up a fucking house in Brazil. It looks horrendous.
Working for you.
was that a good part of growing the property business as well? The fact that you got to do it with your dad as well in his retirement?
It was stressful. It was. I mean, we butted heads. You can't do this, you can't do that. You bought the wrong fucking stuff. Everything. Do you know what I mean? But we stuck with it, and we done some nice refurbs. And when I said to my dad, look, I'm going to get a team in, he's like, what am I meant to do now? I was like, I can retire. But
is he 72, did you say?
He's 74 now.
74?
But he's been doing the Abington flip, helping me a couple of days, and then I've just got one, I'm picking up the keys for Ashgill today, so he's got to go and strip.
Where's Ashgill again? Ashgill?
Next to Larkhill.
Oh, is it? Aye. And then you've got Abington as well. They're both flips. So
no, Dumbarton and Abington's 2 flips.
Can you talk us over the high level numbers of the flips? And I know you've not quite sold them yet, but
so Dumbarton one that went under offer on Monday for 156. Obviously, as it sells through it, that will make £39 profit.
Lovely.
After selling costs. Abington, the home report's getting done today. We're hoping that comes in at 220, 230. So there's 67 grand profit in that one.
Nice, really good. Hi.
And how much your time then day to day is going into the kind of viewings, sourcing these deals? Like, what's your day to day routine then, or what you're trying to get to where you putting your time?
I'm trying to get more into the sourcing. I've done a couple of co-sources, so I would like to add that. And I go and build my relationships with estate agents. The thing is, when you're doing refurbs, you're getting no consistency to go in every week. So that's kind of the focus for the next 6 months. I've hired a VA as well, so that's going to free up a lot of my time just doing the admin.
Brilliant.
So, do you think your previous business experience will help you scale up the property business? Because I think a lot of people that start off and scaling a property business, they're always resentful or I suppose holding back on employing people. But the fact you've already employed staff maybe takes that mindset or that fear of employing people away from you. Do you?
The VA took me a few months to get my head around to do it, and my office is in my house, so it's hard for me to hire a staff because I'm not wanting to leave a stranger in my house. So, and I'm not wanting to get an office and get my overheads either.
Yeah.
So I think if the VAs work, I would probably just go down that route and then see where the portfolio goes, and then maybe look at an office and getting staff in.
Mm-hmm. But what do you think that property business sort of looks like in terms of, would you building the portfolio up, what would you think about having, instead of using like a lettings agent, would you have like a property manager who just would manage the whole thing for you? Is that kind of what you would look at maybe?
I think that could be something that I look at.
So that's what is that not what you're thinking, you know?
No.
You're having to now, because your portfolio's got so big, like up in Aberdeen, you've got like having been looking at full-time maintenance,
full-time member of staff, full-time maintenance person to try and bring the costs back down.
Aye, so that's obviously people that are just dedicated to running the portfolio.
Yeah.
Whereas like it's so exactly that comes back to the point where we talk about property. You know, people talk about property as a kind of residual income and all that, you know, like passive income. It's not really that, is it? Nah. Let's face it, you know.
But I suppose you know, you're in charge of your own destiny. You've created these assets, you've created that business, so
I was talking to a guy, Chris, Chris and Andy from Brightstone Property. Don't know if you follow them on Instagram.
Yeah, no, I do.
So they've got this big building up in Falkirk. Shout out to them because they're great guys doing really good things, like doing the serviced office spaces and stuff like that.
That interests me, actually. I think maybe next year I would maybe go on a course to learn more about that.
So shout out to Jerry Alexander.
I wasn't about to say his name because you'd say he's got another plug.
He's a
good guy, actually.
Do you know what?
I've spoke to him a few times.
I'm giving him a plug because he's been helping me a wee bit, so I don't mind. So so talking about,
because he knows you won't pay for his share.
Exactly. So he's absolutely giving in. He's like, Nick, do you know what? I'm just going to give you.
So like you probably give him three fucking people a week on his training course.
We've got a wee agreement going on. Anyway, talking about Chris, he came to a networking event last night. He's like, I was fucking in there with a plunger yesterday. All his toilets were full of shite, and he had to go in there with a plunger, get the plunger from Screwfix and that, and he's in there trying to unclog it. He says eventually he just gave in and he had to get the drain contractor out. It was like 250 quid or something like that.
Did he put it on his Instagram?
No, I asked him, I says, did you? He says he was going to. So this would be quite a funny thing, but then he thought, nah, it's not very professional. So I think he withdrew from it. But again, it's like, that's the stuff that goes on behind the scenes when you're running, like those guys are doing commercial portfolio, But, it's just, that's it, man. It's not a fucking Instagram lifestyle in front of your Lambos and on your fucking Marbella retreats and all that. Do you know what I mean? There's another fucking plug for somebody else. That's it. That's the reality.
So what do you think the future holds for you then? Where I suppose what's next? You're dabbling in the flips and growing the portfolio quite aggressively. Where do you see the next couple of years?
I think keep doing that. Learn about this commercial stuff like Jerry does, and try to get the sourcing business going. I think it's quite a powerful tool, isn't it?
Nice for cash flow.
Aye.
Yeah.
So, if you could do maybe a couple of sources a month, then I don't need to take my wages out the portfolio.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I could start paying off debt.
Well, so that's the next question I was going to ask. Have you got an overall strategy for your debt? A lot of guys during acquisition stage, I suppose, go maximum LTV. At some point, are you looking at it and going, I'm going to pay down debt, or I'm going to just keep it at the same level?
No, I think I will, but
yeah,
for 10, 15 years, it's boss to wall.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Keep it now.
Aye. Yep.
Boss to wall. Love that.
Love it.
Big up the grafters. Remember him? We had him on the Property Apprentice. He's all about grafting as well. So, absolutely, mate.
I think that's the reality of a property business, though, isn't it? It's a lot of graft, regardless if you're on the refurbs or you're not. If you're chatting with agents doors or you're outsourcing deals, like it's a lot of graft you have to put into it to get any real level of success.
I mean, I'm still working 12, 14 hours a day. It doesn't bother me. I enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So.
And I like that. I like that attitude.
Do a couple of days a week and make millions. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Exactly. And again, this is reality, and it's good having you in here telling the true story, how you get to that point, because you can see there's a lot of guru stuff out there. I watch it as well, guilty of it, watching it on YouTube and all that, and they say no, you should be delegating everything, you shouldn't be doing that, that's not an income generating task, that's not your money well spent. All that reality is, who is going to fucking go in there?
You need to get shit done. You need to unblock the toilets because somebody's fucking tenants are phoning you can't use toilets.
You're still at that point as well, where you need to pull yourself out of something and go and deal with. You're just getting smacked in the face daily. You know? It's always some shite to deal with.
We've got looking at putting a couple of properties to Mears to try it. They've come up with a big massive list of all the stuff that they want done, and I'm like, and it's looking at going, who the fuck am I going to do that? Because I don't have the full time member of staff starting for another couple of weeks up in Aberdeen. I'm like, I'm going to have to go up to Aberdeen and do this. Like, you're looking at this massive list going, you can't. Oh, I'll send that 3 things to a joiner, and I'll send that 4 things to a spark, and I'll send that. Like, you need a full time maintenance team. So roll up sleeves up and get it done.
Aye, no, definitely.
We had David Liddell in there as well just before you. Mm-hmm. He, is driving up and down that road to Thurso at the moment, 5-hour drives with a van full of furniture and soft furnishings to kit out an SA unit up in Thurso. Do you know what I mean?
I've been following it. It looks good, actually.
Brilliant, isn't it? Aye, so that one's coming out as well. So, it's just, that's it. That's reality.
Absolutely. No. And where can the listeners follow you, follow your journey? Are you sharing stuff on social media?
Aye. So Facebook, LinkedIn and Instagram. So just recently got an Instagram there. Aye, that's
nice,
the free social medias.
Just give them a shout out, get you some followers and see people can look at what you're up to.
Facebook page, Taymore Investments, and my Instagram is, don't even know my Instagram, Scott Dunsmore Property / maybe.
We'll chuck it in the show notes, mate.
And don't be taking them on at go-karting then, is that the...
Avoid them at go-karting. If they invite you, make up an excuse or get a crash course diet.
Brilliant.
No, thanks very much for coming, mate. I really appreciate you sharing the journey as well. Like it's nice and inspirational to hear people's real stories as well, and then obviously sharing the struggles with the previous business. Like it's good to see growth as well.
No, brilliant. Thanks for having us.
All the best to you, Scott. Enjoyed the chat. Thank you for coming on.
Perfect, thanks.
Cheers.